They put in place where, like, if a unit becomes vacant that a Section 8 housing client was once in, if we commit to housing another housing choice voucher person, um, they'll help pay for damages and things like that. And so,
True, that's helpful, right?
yeah, so that's helpful, especially when you have a lot of damages that someone may have caused.
Gotcha. So I was really kidding when I was having everybody else exit. You didn't have to exit. I really wanted you to stick around and hear, because this is important for everybody to know. And we also have a special guest going to be speaking in a little bit about a wonderful new resource and service that's going to be available to apartment complexes. And this will be something that you can take to those apartment complexes as a way to keep people housed and to prevent homelessness. So yeah, it's really important that you stick around if you can, please. Um, do you guys see any negatives about working with folks who have the housing choice voucher at all?
I don't know if it's different maybe for an independent property owner. I have not had inspections on my property after the initial inspection, to make sure it was up to code. And I think there were maybe like 5 little things that I just needed to do first. But actually, my issues have not really been with the tenant at all. They've been more so with the office.
The housing authority?
Yeah, I've had the runaround has been out of control,
Gotcha.
and I had to like take like a half day off work to come to Greenville and be like, hey, I would like someone to respond to my email now.
Right.
So,
Yeah, they've had some difficulty recent, and I think it's getting smoothed out now. So I hope so too. Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. We all want to be have reasonable responses to our questions and our needs. All right. How about some of the biggest challenges that you see as a landlord? What are those? What do those things look like for you? And when you see a unit not being taken care of, what are some of the things that you do as a landlord property manager? Let's say you're noticing things, right? You're popping over, or maintenance person walks in and does what they need to do, and they come back and they tell you, oh, by the way, the Smith household, yeah,
Well, usually I try to talk to the tenant to see if there's anything going on, have anything changed with them, for them to maybe have some type of challenges while the housekeeping is going down.
Okay.
And then try to do regular inspections so you can catch it ahead of time.
gotcha. Has that worked for you?
In some ways, a lot of time when you have tenants that came from a homeless like situation, they have a harder time when it comes to housekeeping because they're not used to being in that type of setting.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. Denise? Oh, you're fine. No, you're good. We want to hear every word.
One thing we had to learn is recognizing that your version of clean and my version of clean can be entirely two different things. And so we hold people accountable for stuff that they may just not know. And so we all have different norms. And so I can grow up in a household where, like, I'm OCD. So everything has a place. And so when I go in to inspect, I expect this gentleman's house to be the way my house is. But guess what? That's a wrong expectation placed on him, because if he's never been taught the importance of cleaning up and how to clean up, and we penalize him. So what we do is, Homes of Hope, we try to do a lot of educating. Let's educate our clients. Huh?
No, I said I clean my house, by the way.
Okay, good. So we're really big on educating on how to clean, how to operate the appliances in the home. You cannot assume. You get someone with a garbage disposal and they don't know that you can't put noodles in a garbage disposal. And so what we do is we try to talk with them, like Miss Brenda said, also asking, hey, is there something going on? This person normally keeps a clean unit, but you notice that gradually it's going down. he or she could be not be feeling well. Something can be going on. And so asking questions, but what we had to learn first and foremost was meeting people where they are. And when you meet someone where they are, but you educate them on the proper way to clean and take care of the unit. And so, like, we deal with hoarding and explaining to, like, we had a couple of houses that if fire caught, if it will burn in 15 minutes because it was so much combustible stuff in that home. And so you educate on why you can't have all these boxes and all of these clothes and this, that, and the other. How we make it about them and how it helps them. Now, if you keep keeping a dirty unit, then there's only so much we can do before we realize, okay, is there another avenue, because it becomes costly on the unit.
Very good. Thank you so much. Nope, she left. Gonna go talk to the housing authority, I guess. Huh? Oh, she's coming back. Okay, good. All right. Yeah, anybody from the housing authority here? Okay, good. Yeah, we love you guys. We love you guys. Yeah, no, don't shrink, please. We need you, absolutely. I mean, it's thousands of units. It's really important. So thank you for the work that you're doing. How's the moving to work going for the housing authority folks? Or anybody, is Jenny here? Is she here? No? Janae? Yeah? Not here? Oh, she left. Okay. So that's a great program. I'm hoping all good things come. All right, next for our remaining 2 landlords. How can the county or the housing authority assist you in maintaining your property? Are there any things that they can do besides just throwing money your way and helping you fix it up? I wasn't sure about how that question was going to be answered, so, all right. Yeah, someone? Oh, Armilla.
One of the biggest issues is cleanliness. If people want to help, is to help the tenants learn how to maintain property. Having someone, I had an incident where someone didn't know how to turn the water off under the toilet. Toilet overran, and by the time I got back, it had like 5 inches of water on the floor. So I assumed the person knew how to do that. But you can't assume that, because simple things that you think people ought to know, they don't always know how to correct. So just having some kind of training, it's kind of like saying we need to teach our children how to manage their money. Nobody's teaching them that, then they're not going to learn it. If people move into property and have never, even if they've been living at home with their parents, doesn't have anything to do with education or anything. They've been living at home, parents take care of everything. They move in their own apartment, something goes wrong, they don't know what to do because they're used to saying, Mom, Dad, somebody fix it. Right. So education is key. If you're going to say, what's the problem, then if the problem is cleanliness or keep up, then how can we fix that problem?
There you go. Thank you very much.
All right.
Have a home maintenance. So we created a home maintenance guide. And the home maintenance guide tells them how to turn that water source off. It tells them where to identify their breaker boxes. It tells them what can and can't go down that garbage disposal. It tells them how to, our units are energy efficient. We have energy efficient appliances. So it tells them how to set their thermostat. And so when they sign their lease, they sign the back page of that home maintenance guide, that they will read that guide and they will apply what they've read to taking care of the home. So that's the education piece that we're talking about. And so if they let the water run and don't know how to turn it off, then we can say to them, we gave you a home maintenance guide at move-in, and you signed off that you were going to read it. And so
sometimes people sign leases without knowing what they're signing because they need some place to stay. So, yeah.
we can't keep making excuses. And so we give them the lease prior to move in. Right. We go over the lease at lease signing, and then I encourage you to read your lease after we've signed the lease. At that point, it does not mean that I'm not going to go above and beyond to continue to help you, but you have to take some ownership. And so, and I understand, we came to the conclusion long ago that the average person just wants a place to live. But guess what? With a place to live comes responsibilities. And so so we give them all the tools we can for them to be successful. We reiterate the importance of reading over this stuff, familiarizing yourself with it. So if they're responsible for the cost of the damage, we've done we've done way more than the average landlord would even consider doing.
Yeah. A quick point here, and I want to, and then, yep, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that when I had a tenant-based voucher, TGHA, the last time it was like 10 years ago, they gave you like a briefing and you had a presentation. They even taught you how to utilize, like your food stamps to get lemon and baking soda and vinegar and things like that. So I'm not sure if they still do that, but I mean, y'all do? I just wanted to put that out there, that they do provide visuals and things, and they have you interact with everyone that is getting that voucher and give them that knowledge.
Good, thank you. There you go. All right, so we're gonna slide into something that we're talking about in terms of supportive services, things along those lines. So I want to introduce Lorraine Crowell. She's with Leadwell 360, and she's been doing some really cool things about providing supportive services to the Sullivan Apartments, and this could prove to be a best practices model that I hope will move out throughout Greenville County and the upstate and South Carolina. So Lorraine, go ahead.
I'm going to get that mic if it's okay, because I think there's a PowerPoint here. So, good afternoon. I know everybody is ready to go home and fix dinner or whatever it is. So I'm going to. Yeah, okay. But I'm going to fly through this, and if you want me to slow down, tell me. So, if let's see, I think I can advance this. Yeah. So. My name is Lorraine Crowell. Again, I've been in the business about 28 years, serving folks who are marginalized or low income, low wealth. And recently, the past 7 years, I managed and built affordable housing for United Housing Connections. And so I learned very quickly there when I first took the job that we had to separate supportive housing, supportive services from property management, because many of our property managers were getting sort of inundated with issues and tenant not related to lease or anything like that, but just really involved in tenants' lives. And so one of the things I did was separate that out. I put supportive services in a different category and assigned another person to supportive services. And that seemed to work. So this is sort of a hybrid of that model. So right now, this is just a couple of current projects that we're working on. I'm going to skip this slide because it's not relevant to today. So on-site supportive services formed in the 70s, and mostly because we had people with severe mental illness that needed help. In the 90s, it expanded, included the Housing First model. And in 2005, HUD said, let's let Continuum of Cares provide supportive services. And so they provided dollars for that, to support tenants. What keeps people in poverty? Everybody in this room knows this. These are not the only three things, but these are the major things. Low income, no education, no network. On-site supportive services will make a significant and has made a significant difference in these three areas. On-site supportive services creates a pathway out of poverty, increases housing stability, improves mental and physical health, and provides support for single parents, particularly families, the elderly, and disabled. So the way that we separate, like who does what and why, is property management, of course, is responsible for everything that has to do with leasing, evictions, property maintenance, inspections, addressing lease violations. But supportive services ensures residents understand their rights and responsibilities to maintain their home, provides education on that, provides connections to workshops and classes to supportive services, develops and manages a residence council, which is important, and then working with the residence council to develop on-site events and activities. Lorraine doesn't have all the answers, But that community does. They know the answers they need. They know what they need. So you build that into the on-site program so that they can tell you what they need. And then how this program impacts, just the impact it makes on just management. It prevents PMs from involving property managers from involvement in the tenant's personal situations. PMs are now not the go-to for tenant community resource connections. PMs can fully concentrate on their management responsibilities. It creates a third-party mediator so that there's not this back and forth, and provides real solutions designed to promote long-term tenant stability. It also saves thousands of dollars in downtime and turn cost. So the Sullivan case study is what's here, 180 units located in Berea. It's the property's about a year and 2 months old. This is the unit spread and the cost per unit. So if you'll notice here, this is telling. If you look at tenant income at 60% AMI, this is what HUD tells us that the income levels must be. Look at the Sullivan. The highest four-bedroom unit, the household makes $37,000, nowhere near 53. So what we do is we go in and we analyze where sort of property rents against income for every client. And we identify those who are going to be in most need. And we start with those folks because we know that it's going to take one thing, just one, for them to not be able to pay rent or get their medicine or buy essentials. All right, so just in 4 months, here's what we've done. 15 households, $32,000 in revenue captured. 16 households, we provided food, cleaning products, etc. 31 children received clothing and Christmas gifts over the holidays. 33 households received job training and education. So with rental assistance, again, the big deal here is 16 households weren't evicted and 30 kids kept their home. That's the important part of this slide. And so here's some of the things that we do: financial education, affordable childcare. Wherever Miss Cheryl is, and she's probably outside, has come to the Sullivan and provided these classes. You'll see her up there. And then job training, continuing education, mentoring programs, supportive community programs. So all of those are tools of empowerment that we provide. And they're on site, so they're not going places. We're bringing that to them. So meet Melissa. She's a single mom. She came to us through the Circles program. She was coming to the Sullivan. Bruce and Cher has been to the Sullivan. And when she came in, she had a mask over her face because her smile was missing. And I said to her, Melissa, what is the thing that would make the difference in your life? What is it that you want most for yourself? And she said, I want my smile back. I said, well, if you'll do 3 things for me, we'll work on that. She did the 3 things. Look at her smile. She's also in the Circles program, and she's going to be a very successful young lady. But she worked at the poultry processing plant, and it's a hard job. Now she works at Walmart, and she is stocking shelves and talking to people and loving her job. So here's the Residence Council. We do a lot of things together, but it's made up of 8 to 12 residents, 1 or 2 from each building. We meet monthly to plan community events and workshops. We bring residents' concerns to the group for discussion. And then we also created a food pantry, a clothing shop, and residents' emergency fund for folks. You'll be surprised, and this room wouldn't, what $100 will do for a family. That's the difference between paying rent and not. And so it's not free. It's not a handout. It's a hand up. You'll need to sign a promissory note that says over time, at whatever amount, you'll pay that back. But we're going to help you. And so here's what it costs. So if you're talking about the cost, it's scalable. So if you have 20% of residents, generally that's what we have to serve in 100 units. 20% of those residents are going to need some sort of support during the month. The social worker, full-time social worker, is about $32 to $34 an hour, and that includes benefits. So your organization or property would be billed that hourly rate for services rendered. So we have 10 households. The rate's $34 an hour. We typically spend 1.5 hours per household including events and residence council and that kind of thing. So look at that charge, $510 a month. That's less than a one-bedroom unit a month, right? And it saves this, or it has at the Sullivan. Average turn cost, including 1 month's lost rent, and this is minimal, $3,000. If you take that times 17 units, we potentially save $51,000 in lost revenue. We've also captured $32,000 in potential lost revenue where there were no additional turn cost. So training and support for residents to prevent additional losses is there, and then building community and a sense of responsibility is also very important. But again, 17 households, 30 children remain housed. So glad to answer your questions.
I don't know enough into this. I'm gonna ask this question. So with licensed funded properties, is paying for salary and benefits for a supportive services coordinator an approved budget item on the annual, expenses of a project?
Typically, yes. There's legislation moving forward that is literally saying that supportive services is a necessity, not an extra. It's not like a swimming pool, And so I don't think we have that in place yet, but right now what's happening is the developer is paying these costs.
Any more questions for Lorraine? What do you guys think of this idea? Think this could catch on and actually would be a real benefit and save a lot of headaches and hassles that both properties and the tenants go through, because you have someone available to help work out some of those problems when, guess what, life happens. That's essentially what this is. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm new to this industry over the last year, but I will say, working in the senior housing property that I was in just recently, we have a coordinator, and it has taken a lot of stress off of the front office. And seeing the tenants, they're getting excited about all of the things that are coming to them, and things that we weren't able to prepare and do for them because we just didn't have the time or the resources. So our social coordinator has been a gift. So I just want to say it's nice.
Is that paid through the housing authority and stuff, or awesome? Yeah, fantastic. No, that's excellent. I mean, yeah, let's solve problems. How crazy of an idea is that, right? No, that's good. I mean, and you see it's more than just financial. That's what we're really getting at. It's quality of life goes through the roof, and people want to then live at that apartment complex, or be a part of that. Why? Because, there's help available. It's not this confrontation. So, cool. Toby.
Could you give us a little more background on the Sullivan and how it came about?
Yeah, the Sullivan is owned by Schaumburg Development, and it is a LIHTC 60% property. So 180 units came online in March of last year. And we started in September with supportive services as it became leased up. The demographic there is mostly single moms with children. Average number of children per household is 3. There's 186 children under the age of 18 on that property. So it's hopping a little bit.
And we're going to bring them to the senior housing. So, yeah. All right. All right.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah. Lorraine, thank you for sharing this model.
It is.
No.
No, it's
Berea.
You know where the Goodwill is on Sulphur Springs?
I don't know what's up with the stream.
Close there.
Yeah. Thank you, Lorraine. All right, just a few more questions. I really want to kind of get a feel from landlords here, and this includes you all, housing authority folks. How do you look at someone who might have some evictions in their history? How do you guys evaluate that to determine whether or not that is a person that you want to rent to or not? Denise, hey, look at you, yeah. Oh, yeah, here's a.
All right, so what we do is if someone has evictions, but it hasn't been within the last 3 years, we will consider them for housing. We do ask questions, like what happened. We do try to encourage them to make right on any balance that is owed. But what we realize is that because we get so many applicants with evictions, that we had to do something different.
Yeah.
And so we just, again, it's all about a second chance. And if they can pay it off, it is something that we encourage them to do or call and make some type of payment arrangement or a settlement, just in good faith. Because how do you rent to someone who has an outstanding balance? But again, because landlords unfortunately are not always forthcoming in some of their practices, we have to realize that there's typically a story behind it.
Very good. Awesome. How about the Housing Authority? Yes, ma'am. Oh, okay.
From my understanding, if somebody has a balance, we will work with them.
Okay.
So if somebody comes in and let's say they left us at one point, I just sent one of the property managers a text asking what we do when there's evictions, because like I said, I'm human resources, so I'm not really sure on that part. I would like to think that we do the same as Denise does with Homes Hope, that we work with them. I know that's what we do with the reentry, as far as hiring.
Yeah.
So, oh, there's Meredith. Okay, she just stepped out. Evictions. So what do we do if there's evictions?
So, yeah, how many years back do you go or?
In my experience, unfortunately, we have not been taking people with evictions. And even if I've escalated it and requested override.
Really?
If any money's owed.
Oh, if any money's owed.
We cannot move forward. That
Now,
is my.
is it money owed to public housing or
So I had.
or is it just anything?
It is, for sure, any public housing debt, we can't move forward. I did have a situation, this was within the past 3 months, where, there was an eviction on someone's screening, and it was not owed, the monies owed was not to a public housing agency, and I was still not able to move forward. Wow. Unfortunately. So I don't know if that's something that we can, as an agency, come together and talk about, but from what I was told, the policy is we can't.
Wow, okay. Toby?
For me, I mostly use property managers for my properties, but typically they'll only look at anything 3 to 5 years, depending on the property manager. And to the lady's point over here, it's always about getting the story to understand the why behind it. In addition to that, you can pay closer attention to the credit report, right? So there's a score, but you can also understand their recent payment history, right? Are they currently paying their bills on time, which can help to clarify the picture. And then also depending on how you feel about the risk, you can also talk to them about possibly increasing their security deposit for one lease, right? And if they pay you on time for that first lease, then give them a portion of that increased security deposit back, but it helps to give you some downside protection.
That's a good idea. That's a really good idea. Yes, in the back.
If they credit report come back that it's a low credit, and if it's stopping them from getting in, then we will override that because of a low credit to get them in a unit.
Okay, awesome. And I think also way in the back.
So I'm with Greer Housing Authority. And so per our policy, of course, it's my understanding, if they owe another agency, and when we pull that in EIV, then of course we cannot lease them up until they pay that other agency. The whole point, another housing authority. Of course, the whole point behind the EIV, as far as that's concerned. But it's, of course, suitability of tenants up to the landlord. So in my mind, I'm thinking we're talking two separate things because the housing authority has their policy, and then they have a part of their policy that they have to have according to HUD, and then the landlord has their suitability for tenancy.
How about if someone owed money to a private landlord, would that, how would that play over at the Greer Housing Authority?
With Greer, we look and make sure that there's no current history of that. Of course, if it's over and over and over and over again, then that creates a problem. But if there's no current history, then we do allow them to, go ahead, proceed on with the program.
Gotcha. Cool. Thank you. How about criminal backgrounds? How do you all feel about that, and where do you draw the line when it comes to that? Is it number of years? Is it types of charges? Yeah, go ahead, Greer.
Number of years. We look at the number of years. 3.
3. Okay, wow, that's very generous. Okay. How about Greenville Housing Authority? How many years? You guys know?
It's 3 years.
3? Okay. Is that a universal number from federal or?
Look back 3 years for anyone that had any drug-related or violent-related criminal history, and then we would also look back at whether they were assisted under federally funded housing and if they had been terminated from that housing assistance cause.
No, that's all good.
But one thing I would like to add to that is even when someone is denied assistance, they do have an opportunity to request what we call an informal review, where they could they could tell their story.
Okay.
And so things could be turned around for them in that case.
Oh, that's very generous. And Denise, did you have any earth-shaking, fantastic stuff that you're doing at Homes of Hope around criminal backgrounds?
Because we have, it's 3 years as well.
3 years, okay.
It's 3 years. We also look at the severity of the crime, violent crimes. We are not allowed to house registered sex offenders because of the federal funding that goes involved with the grant funding that we receive to build some of our homes. Right. And so we used to shy away from criminal domestic violence. But again, we had to start asking more questions about that because if you're the abuser, if I'm the abuser and you're the victim, if you hit me, if I hit you and you hit me back, we're both going to jail. And some victims just say, okay, enough is enough, and I'm going to fight back. And so then that record is on there. So like I said, we've had to just really dive into our policies. And you get to know people, but again, with fair housing is consistency. What you do for one is what you do for all. So you have to look at all the circumstances, and so, but yes.
All of her clients out to lunch, just so
Yeah, right. Half of them don't even want to talk to me. So, but yeah. So that's what we do.
Great. Now I know Homes of Hope and the housing authorities have certain income guidelines. But if there were more private landlords here, I was going to say, what they look for in terms of amount of income to qualify for their units. So, but that we'll just wait on that one, unless Toby, you want to say anything or? Oh, you're back. Okay, cool. Yeah. I was asking about some of the income guidelines that you might have, because I'm hearing, people need to have 800 times income compared to the rent. That's an exaggeration, but it gets pretty steep. Rents have gone way up, but incomes have gone up, but not at the same pace. And just wondering what kind of level that you guys use. Toby?
Well, I was going to say what I'm seeing most commonly now is 3 times rent.
3 times, okay. So monthly income should be equal to 3 times rent. Gotcha. Is that the standard that you use too, or something similar? Or you don't know?
So I have one unit that is housing choice voucher.
Okay.
So that is obviously set between me and the housing authority, but then I have another unit that is market value. Yeah, so, like, I know what I pay now, as a current renter as well, is, I think mine had to be 3.5 times.
Wow, okay.
I mean, and again, though, that's based on market rate. And to me, that's subjective. So it's like location, amenities, size. I mean, so it's really what you choose to apply for. As far as my market rate unit, I think it's affordably, well, not, I shouldn't say affordably, fairly priced market rate based again on size, location, amenities, this, that, and the third. But I really just more so look at, as like an independent and private reviewer, gainful employment and employment history. Because there are some people who, and I also, with a background in human resources, there are some people who, maybe like their 40 or 80 hour, payment period does not appear to be what you would think it should as far as like what level of income, but depending upon the industry they work in, there could be like a basically constant guarantee of overtime, which is what they do.
Yes.
So, I mean, if I can see that in their history, then okay.
Sure. If they've got a good rental history or whatever too, you go, okay, cool. All right, my last question. So, based on looking at your crystal ball, because everybody has one, right? You can predict the future and everything. I wanted to kind of find out what attribute that tenants might have that you've seen that is kind of the most telling attribute or characteristic that will tell you that they're going to be a great tenant. Dun, 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 dun. So, in other words, like, I know we look at all these objective things like income, work history, eviction. Is there something else that you're looking for? Look, Greer's calling in. All right, come on, Greer.
I sure hope not, because I think that would be a fair house.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about, is there something when you're talking to the people, right? Is it all just
No.
totally objective, really? Is that kind of what it is? Or if you hear their story, okay, I want to back that person. Provided they do other things, that, you can't just take a lark and go, they're a mass murderer and, they have zero income and that sort of thing. No? Okay. When they turn in their documents on time, there you go. Yeah?
Similarly, I would say
Communication? Okay, transparency, yeah. Okay, those help. That helps you to know they're gonna be a great tenant. I hear you. Jessica? Oh, they got their security deposit back from last place. Yeah, that's a good one.
Just in case you didn't hear and for the recording, they got their security deposit back in the last place they lived.
No, that tells you something. Toby?
When their income is actually what they say it is.
There you go. No, I mean, there you go. That's true. All right. Miss Yvonne? I'm done here. So,
And when they fill out an application and fill it out correctly.
Thank you all again for attending. Will my staff please step in? The staff of Greenville County Human Relations Financial Empowerment Center. Would the staff please step in, please? My staff. Financial Empowerment Center, Greenville County Human Relations Commission. Come on, guys. They worked very, very hard, so they're very tight. Help me give them a round of applause.